Greetings! This is Ron Smiling, but you already know that because you're watching my video. So I put out a vlog which requested some questions from my listeners, and first, before I get into those questions and their answers, I want to say a humongous thank you to those of you that took the time to think of a question and put it in the comments. It sounds like a small thing, but I'm going to tell you right now, the thing that I'm taking away from this the most is that there are people that commented that I wasn't sure if they still watch my videos or watch them regularly, and it really made me happy just to hear from you. There are a lot of people that ask questions or leave comments on every video, but I particularly wanted to say thank you to those of you who don't comment that often, because it really meant a lot to me to know that you are interested. Okay, so I am recording the question and answers on Wednesday, June 4th. It's fairly late at night. I have already recorded the time-lapse, perhaps what may be a time-lapse that you're seeing under this video. I wasn't sure how long it would take me to record all the questions and answers. So I filmed some boring stuff in Minecraft with a few little interesting bits mixed in. So I will leave it up to you if you want to watch the video while you listen, or if you want to do something else and just have me in your ear holes. Alright, so this is actually being recorded after I record myself talking through all the questions and answers. I thought you might be interested to know that the total runtime for the question and answers is about 2 hours and 20 minutes. I've broken it up into 7 sections, and the first 3 sections are the Minecraft questions, the 4th and 5th section are personal questions, and then the 6th and 7th and random questions, and then the 6th and 7th questions are 50 questions from jGazMom. So what I'm going to try to do is do a Minecraft section for the first episode, and then I'll probably do some of the personal questions, and then another Minecraft and personal, and then Minecraft, and then jGazMom questions, and then end it with jGazMom. So kind of mix it up a little bit. So if I say something about a different order in the next few minutes of listening, it's because I recorded this after the fact and rearranged things, because I want to keep it interesting for you. I don't think you want an hour straight of just talking about Minecraft questions. I'm going to try to mix them up. Enjoy. Now, you already know that this is being overlaid in my series, The Color of Infinity. I just wanted to say that as of this episode 75, it is the longest running series on my channel. It surpasses the previous longest series on my channel, which was my LP of Moon 2. That is a CTM that I had a lot of fun with, mainly because I had so many companions joining me in that playthrough. Jagarbov, Nurgle Bunny, the Dead Workers Party, and a whole host of other people. I think near the end I actually ended up having 12 people all playing the CTM with me at once, and I wove it all into the story. So that was a lot of fun. Alright, without further ado, we're going to start with the Minecraft questions. This is probably the bulk of the questions, and these aren't in a particular order other than the order that I copy and pasted them from YouTube comments into this Word document I'm looking at, and then I rearranged them so similar questions are near each other. So the first question here is from Dads Are Funny. Thank you guys for putting this out here. This is a pretty general question. It is, imagine Minecraft 1 year from today. Let's say version 2-ish, which I think probably not going to be in version 2. But the question is, what do you think it will be like? So I've chosen to answer this a little bit differently. Minecraft a year from today isn't going to look all that different from Minecraft today, but I'm going to jump ahead to Minecraft 2.0, and let's assume that if Mojang comes out with a brand new version, starts from scratch, and comes out with Minecraft 2.0, there's a couple things that I think it might be like. This isn't necessarily based on what I know of Mojang or the developers, or even what the community wants, but maybe it's based on what I think should be in the game. And I kind of, well, this is what I think it might be like, or my vision. The first and foremost thing is that you would have modular blocks. And what I mean by that is every block, and I'm going to use the word block generically, in the game has some attributes. One of the attributes is the texture. So all blocks are defined as a certain object and it has a texture. So that could be a wood texture, that could be a wool texture, that could be a clay texture. And each block has a shape. So everything's considered a block, at least everything that adheres to the 3D grid. And it has a shape. It's either a cube shape, which is your typical block, or it's a stair shape, or a vertical half slab shape, or a horizontal half slab shape, or a fence shape, or a wall shape. I think those are the main shapes, or a pressure plate shape. So basically, you could have, or a sign shape. Like you could have any block of any texture and shape combination, and it would be modular. So there's basically just two attributes in the data store, the texture and the shape, and then the behavior, the functions of the block are determined by those two attributes, and there might be other attributes, but very modular game, so you don't have it where there's only like a certain set of stairs. Like every block could be stairs. I also think that there would be a lot more mobs and a lot of bosses in different biomes, or rare bosses of some kind. I think if they were to start over, they would have that as one of their design principles. I think a better lighting engine. I don't think it would be done in Java, although I could be completely wrong. I don't really know that much anymore about what language, kind of adheres to what game, but from what I understand of Minecraft and what I see is it is a beast. Uh, I don't think it was ever intended to be coded in Java. I think there would be a lot better artificial intelligence scripting, so mobs could have much better scripting, coding for how they behave that can be changed a lot easier than how they do it today. I think they would keep it to be a true sandbox game. Obviously, they'll have the survival in there, but I think the sandbox nature of the game is really what makes it what it is. And I would imagine that they would have, or they would attempt to do something cross-platform. And I'm going to classify this as something like Minecraft Realms, but not necessarily cross-platform servers. So I think Mojang hosted Realms might be cross-platform, but just a general server might only be able to be PC versus Xbox. I don't know, that's just something I was thinking about. And then the other thing that I think would be in a Minecraft 2.0 is a lot more pre-made structures that are a little more complex and pleasing to the eye than like the villages or even the strongholds. Maybe strongholds is a good example of pre-made structures, but I would love to see in Minecraft 2.0, or I think what would be in 2.0, is a richer world. A lot of the same principles, but richer world in terms of mobs, structures, and things you can come across and explore. A lot more connectivity options and a more object-oriented or modular coding, so that they can much more easily add and change blocks around. Similar to this question, so that's sort of what do I see in a Minecraft 2.0. Prof Snape, longtime friend, also said, how do I see Minecraft changing in the future? So I'm assuming this is still Minecraft 1.x. Currently, people tend to kind of think of what Mojang is focusing on as map maker support. I want to be pretty specific that they're really focusing on PvP minigame functionality, support for minigames on servers, particularly PvP. It just so happens that us adventure map makers And puzzle map makers are taking those features and bending them to our evil will. Yeah, so that's kind of the mode that they're in right now, and I do think that will continue because servers are, again, where they can actually count and calculate the audience. It's really hard to say, how many single players are doing survival mode, but you can easily see how many people are on servers, and a lot of what you see on the YouTube community are people playing in these mini games. I do think they're going to go after the underwater biome in the near future. It's something that's been talked about a lot, and I think um, I heard some things like on the Minecraft wiki and in different podcasts about hints towards the water biome. Especially there's something like sea lanterns that may be coming soon. I saw on the wiki the other day. Um, they seem to be also on a trend towards making mob AI more complex and ultimately harder for the player to counter. I kind of get a feeling that in one or two patches, they may go a little bit too far and start getting some flack from the community that certain mobs are super hard and then swing back the opposite way, kind of like a pendulum. I don't really have any basis for this other than I tend to feel like that things kind of if you were to graph out different trends uh, in different games, let's just say games that continue to put out new content, they tend to go extreme in one direction and then swing back and level out over time. The other thing that I think would be kind of interesting, and this is sort of a stretch, I don't think that I've ever heard of anything of this nature, but I was thinking about the streaming integration as an experiment, and I wouldn't be super surprised if they build in some sort of direct video capture and YouTube upload function. Like maybe it's something like Vines where they are constantly recording the last 60 seconds of gameplay, and at any point in time you can boom hit a button and then it uploads the last 60 seconds directly to YouTube. I don't know if that's feasible or doable, but I kind of think that could be something, going down that streaming path and what I've seen in other things. Next question in my list is from BRAN. He is a newer friend of mine. He's also a custom map maker that I've actually known for a long time, but only recently been in contact with. And a related question, if you could change anything currently in the game, what changes would you make? I have a decent list of things, and I will say Mojang fairly often gets around to what I want changed, which is nice. The first being, I think the level cost for naming items in game is way too high in 1.7.4. I understand that this has been reduced in 1.8. I haven't played it yet, so I think that one's going to come off my list. I think one level is fair. I guess it's fine to have a one level cost. I don't see why there's a cost for naming an item at all. I mean, naming an item doesn't have any in-game function as far as I know. One thing that I would also like to change that's annoyed me for quite a long time is that I wish a dog, your pet dog, would attack a mob after you get hit with a bow. I don't really see the reason that they took that out. I know why they don't go after creepers, which I'm kind of torn. I understand why, but I don't see why they don't go after skeletons. That's annoying to me. Um, okay, so one thing that I would also like to change is the AI for mobs directly walking into fire, lava, and cactuses. Come on, like, you can make mobs avoid rails, but why do they walk directly into lava as soon as you put down a lava bucket? It just makes no sense to me. That should be something easily avoidable. I'd love them to make boats a little bit tougher. This is sort of cliche, like they've changed boats in the recent past, but they still break pretty easily, like on a lily pad or whatever. And the last thing, this is me cheating on this question. I'm not really changing, but what I'd really love them to add is I would love to be able to make signs out of all the colors of wood. So not just the plain brown old signs, but I'd love to get some deep red acacia signs and some dark brown signs. Maybe the dark brown signs have white font on them. I think that would be a easy add to the game, relatively speaking. I think it would be a great additional way to get visually different messages across to players in, in your builds as well as in your custom maps. That guy, Matthias, hopefully I pronounced that right, asked me if I were to replace one thing in Minecraft, what would I remove and what would I put in? And so I tried to restrict myself to removing something and replacing it with something of a similar amount of function. I've decided the answer to this question is pigs. I would like to remove pigs from the game. I don't really see any real use for pigs at this point. Now, I understand they are a food source, but cows and chickens are just as easily a food source. I also understand you can put a saddle on them and you can go to sort of this goofy method to ride them as a mount, but I honestly think it's much easier to just get a horse now than deal with a pig. So I would love to remove pigs, and since I feel that they don't have a very big function, what I'd like to get put into the game are birds. These can be just sort of background flavor, some bird song, some birds in flight. You startle them when you come upon a bush. There can be different birds in different biomes, but no real in-game function. Now, I know what you're saying. Bats were put in, and they're right now a little bit more annoying than useful. I think birds could be put in such a way that they're not annoying. I mean, think about, coming out of a forest up to a pond with some reeds. You poke your head through the reeds and you see this white long-legged crane striding slowly through the water, and then it pokes its beak down and it catches a fish, and you shoot it with an arrow. Oh, now I'm getting into functions, but hey, this is cool line of thought anyway. You shoot the crane with an arrow and it drops a fish in addition to a feather. Oh, that would be interesting, right? Okay, back to Prof. Snape. He asks, how would Minecraft have to change to continue to be fun and engaging game for you and the general audience? So my first response to this question is, am I really the general audience? I really don't think so. I'm not a kid, first of all. I think the huge portion of Minecrafters at this point are kids. There are plenty of adults, old schoolers that still play the game. But I also don't really play just straight survival. Yeah, I know this is part of a survival series, but it's really a map making series blended with survival because I can never do anything simply. But I don't play a lot of survival. I don't play a lot of PvP mini games. Yes, I do love to go on the Play Minecraft server every once in a while and do some challenges. I would love to do UHC, but I don't really do PvP that often. Um, so here's the thing. For me, the game itself, what would have to change to continue to be fun? It's not really about Mojang anymore. I don't really need a lot of new features. At the moment, you could probably leave the game the way it is and maybe just put in a few little tweaks here and there, fix some bugs. To me, it's more about what does the community do with the game that keeps it fun at this point. What stories is the community telling me through their maps or through their interactive Let's Plays, the role playing that happens on Yogscast or on the Minecraft server, for example. For the general audience, what would need to change to continue to be fun? I think the general audience, and I'm gonna caveat this by playing the kids that are playing survival and playing on servers. I think putting in some more rare or special things that can be quested for. I don't mean you go to a villager, he gives you a quest, but I mean things that you have to seek out and accomplish, and then you can take the trophy back and use it to decorate your house, or be used in a large scale build. I feel like that to-do list is what keeps people interested in games. That's why we, have MMOs are so popular, because you're in this constant treadmill of to-do listing. And hopefully, if it's a good MMO, you're doing something different every time, different types of quests, but you're always trying to earn an achievement or earn something visual that you can then you can use in the game. Okay, CPM 4001 says, do you think Minecraft is adding too many new features these days? So this is kind of the flip side to the last few questions. Honestly, not really. I think that I would prefer they add less features in more frequent builds. So I know that it's probably unwieldy to go back to the Secret Fridays and have a build every week. But I think we've overdone it on snapshots. Again, I talked about trends going to extremes and then coming back to some sort of baseline. I think it's been a long time since we had an official build. They're putting too much into this particular build right now, and I think I would have rather had a third of the features maybe once a month, as opposed to so many features once every 6 months. So a little bit too much on the snapshots, but like adding too many new features overall, no, I don't think so. I think it's fine. I can't really say that I have experienced all of the new features, and there are a lot of mechanic features being put in, but I think some smaller dosages would be nice. Another great map maker, Bongo Tez, says, how do you feel about Minecraft adding in-game support for mods? This is something I have wanted for so long, pretty much since the beginning of my map making days, when I was using single player commands as my only mod for map making, and when I made my superheroes map, which basically required the use of mods to give your characters superpowers. I wanted this for so long, but now I'm sort of I don't know, I'm sort of not that interested, or I'm interested, but I don't really care either way. And the reason is, right now Forge is so easy to use, and mod packs, Technic packs, all these mod packs, they are the rage. Like, people are using them, and they do so much. I don't really see that a true API in the game is going to be robust enough to really satisfy what people are currently doing with mods. There's just too many game changes that people are putting in the game that I'm not sure the API is going to do for quite a long time. I think they're going to start off with a decent set of functions that can be accessed and changed, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening the way I envisioned it once upon a time. I think the mod community has gone way beyond what's in the game. And I don't know. I wanted it for a long time, but I think a lot of these mod packs now, there's just too much in them. I'm definitely back to a more vanilla, simple game in my mind. That said, I think when they do come out with the API, I've always said that I wanted to try to create a mod. I've got a couple different ideas in my head. I do have a programming background, so I know I could pull it off. But I would be curious to see what it would take to actually create a mod, and I would definitely consider packaging a mod in with a map and a resource pack. So I am going to take a quick pause and do a time check here. Oh my goodness, I've been talking for 23 minutes. Alright, so this segment is going to basically be the random questions, and I will be completely honest, I was actually hoping for a lot more random, fun, goofy questions. But I think I have a pretty serious audience who is here for Minecraft and map making, and maybe me as a person. On my Obvious Obscure channel, I did a whole series on Ron's random questions, or RRQs. I used to do them on Twitter all the time, and as a contribution to something called Sean and Carter Had a Podcast, or Have a Podcast, which I guess they had a podcast. Anyway, I love random questions. It's just a fun way to exercise your mind. I have a few of them here. The first one is from the EPA clan. Do you have Steam? Sure. Yes, I do have Steam. Would you ever review indie games from the community? Sure. I mean, again, on my obvious obscure channel, I've filmed myself playing other games. The first so far, I think the only non-Minecraft thing on this channel has been a little LP on Heroes and Generals, but to me the main thing is Minecraft is just so intriguing to me, and I have so many projects to do. I don't find a lot of time to play other games outside of Minecraft. But I really enjoyed FTL. I really enjoyed Don't Starve. Um, I love Civilization. I like Terraria. I did some Terraria on my channel. I like Starbound a lot. Did some Starbound on my other channel. So yeah, absolutely. Another question from Dads Are Funny. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? And I was going to go for a crazy answer, but in parentheses he put, there is an answer to this one. Well, I think technically the egg came first, because long before there was such a thing as chickens or even birds, I mean, there were other reptiles and dinosaurs that laid eggs. So eggs came first, and eventually, through evolution, one of those eggs hatched a chicken, um, and there you have it. I think that's pretty much the real answer. Q Magnet, good friend, map maker, diversity series, you probably know of it, says asks, if you could go kayaking with anyone living or dead, who would you pick? Now, first of all, I think kayaking around a river with a dead person in your boat seems seems a little morbid, and also seems like I would be doing all the work. So I'm going to go the exact opposite of this, and I'm going to say I'd love to go kayaking with Popeye, because I'm thinking that Popeye has some big strong arms, and that dude could paddle my boat for me, and I can just sit in the back like olive oil and relax while he takes me up and down the river. Q Magnet also wants to know, what's the most ridiculous thing that you've ever seen in a movie? Okay, this is an easy one. And I'm going to caveat it first by saying that the movie in question, I can't not remember the name of it. If you said the name to me, I would be like, oh yeah, that's it. But I'm drawing a blank right now. And the reason that this thing I'm about to describe was so ridiculous um, is because it was unexpected. I was flipping through channels one day and just kind of looking, to see what's on. And I come across this movie, and I start watching it for a few seconds, and I think I could tell pretty quickly that it was kind of a comedy, sort of like a spoofy kind of comedy on the level of, Top Gun or Top Secret, Top Gun, of Airplane, or The Naked Gun, or whatever else I just said, and Top Secret. And basically what it is there's this like kung fu guy, and he has to cross a field, and like I guess from what I remember, he's been warned that he shouldn't cross this field, and he'll have to face the cow or something like that. And I don't know, he starts crossing the field, and all of a sudden this cow that's eating the grass pops up on its hind legs and starts giving a kung fu fight to this guy. Now, that's all fine. I was like, what is this? This is really weird. I don't know what this is. But I kept watching, and now here comes the really ridiculous part. Suddenly the cow reaches down, grabs its own udders, and starts squirting milk into this guy's eye, and then beats the crud out of him while he's distracted because he got cow milk squirted in his eye. And I remember watching this and just being completely appalled that it was so disgusting, thinking that a cow is squirting his own milk in this guy's eyes. It was also so weird that the cow is up and doing kung fu. That always sticks out to me as the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Now, I think I probably could think a little bit longer on it, think of other ridiculous things that I've seen. In fact, well, I'm not even going to go there. I just watched a movie last night with my wife, and we were like, what the we watched the movie called Her, which is Mr. Joaquin Phoenix falling in love with an AI in his computer. I really I really wanted that movie to tell me a plausible way how a normal guy could go down that road and end up in that situation. But they set him up with enough quirks and the situation enough that it would reinforce why he was able to fall in love with the computer. But then there were just things in there that were like, what? um, and then also now that I say that, I'm thinking about like some weird stuff that happened in Adam Sandler movies. But yeah, let's stick with the Kung Fu cow squirting his own milk into the Kung Fu dude's eye, who's trying to cross a meadow. Okay, a couple more by Q Magnet. Which animal do you think you resemble the most? Now, what up until about 25, maybe even 30 at a stretch, I always thought of myself as like an otter. Otters, in my case, are known to be water-loving swimmers, very mischievous, very playful, but also, family-oriented and protective of each other. Um, Now I think, I've put on some weight, I've put on some age, and I'm more into creating things, and I may be more like a beaver. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. There's an image for you. Q Magnet also says, "What is the greatest video game of all time?" So my all-time favorite video game is Maniac Mansion by LucasArts. Um, at the time, I played it on a Commodore 64 in my friend's basement. It was one of the first games where you could choose your team of characters, and the characters felt we could identify with them because they were teens, and the game had time-based, also room-based actions, and the story was great. The music was fantastic, I thought. Um, I love Maniac Mansion, and I did not care for the sequel as much. I know a lot of people love Day of the Tentacle. Didn't care for it. I did not really care for the Maniac Mansion version that came out on the NES. They changed too much. But I do, by the way, have that cartridge like about 5 feet from me, and I do plan to someday do an LP for my NES series, which aired on my Obvious Obscure channel. Maniac Mansion's on the list. How long would you last in a zombie apocalypse? So I actually think I would last quite a long time. I have pretty good survival instincts from the earliest time I could remember. Anytime I go into a new situation, I think of how I could make that place that I'm in a holdout against a zombie apocalypse, or how I could live in that place. So if I go into a store, if I had to live in that store with an apocalypse, how would I get my food? Where would I build my shelter? What's my secret escape route? Like, I'm pretty sure I'd last a while. I would have a first couple months might be really hard because I need to get in better shape. Um, and I think what would do me in would probably not be the zombies, and hopefully not be humanity just becoming a bunch of a-holes. But I think I would probably end up dying of some cold or some sickness because medicine would eventually become hard to get. Q Magnet asks an easy one: chips, candy, chocolate, or crackers? The easy answer for me is chips, but they have to be flavored. So I'm not a fan of plain potato chips. I like barbecue. I like flavors on my chips. So I'd go with chips. And then the first person to leave me a random question, so thank you so much, Jig. This is also a reference to City of Love as well as an internet meme. Why would Batman win in a fight against Superman? It all comes down to the fact that Batman is not afraid to bend the rules or cheat to outsmart his opponent and win. Superman is a Boy Scout, and he's not going to actually try to win the fight. Um, so Batman all the way. There's a lot of discussion on this topic on the internet. And the last random question is by CPM 4001, Have you tried any of Paradox's grand strategy games? I have not. I've actually never heard of that, or at least I don't think I've heard of it by that name. But I'm going to go Google it and I'm going to look it up. And that is it for the random questions.